Seeking redemption. Everybody wants to be redeemed. We all want redemption. Some faiths feel that there's only you're born in negativity, you're born in darkness, you're born in sin, and you need to be redeemed. Others see this world as a dark place, and you need to remove yourself from the darkness in order that you should be redeemed. So, yeah, bad neighbors, you got to make tall, strong walls that bad neighbors shouldn't affect you. Learning in today's Torah portion about the nephew of Abraham, Lot, who went to Sodom and Gomorrah to be with bad neighbors. He was attracted to it, so he went there. That's not redeeming. The Jewish perspective of redemption is not about our personal redemption only. Of course, you have to find the redemption, if you will, of yourself, for yourself. But it's much more profound and deeper than that. Ultimately, it's about redeeming the divine presence of God in its exile and touching the divine and redeeming the divine. The divine in us, of course, and the divine in the world. That's the mystical Jewish approach to the idea of seeking redemption. Welcome to Tanya today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zichron Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Today is a day that we could really see what world we live in. Do we live in the world of Tanya? Do we live in God's world? Or God's perspective on the world, shall we say better? Or do we live in a grungy, dark place where after today, America will be continued in its division, and everyone will point a finger at the other. And blame someone else for the disruptive anarchy that Western civilization is going through right now. So is the election real or is God real? If God's real, then the election will be in accordance to his divine plan, whether it's plan A or plan B, whether it's plan right or plan left. In the end, it really is not what it's all about. That being said, the Rebbe himself went and voted. If it's all in the hands of heaven, then, no, we still need to vote. We need to vote what's best for Jewish values, Jewish teachings, and based on that, that's who you should vote for. Now, two Jews, three opinions. And that's what's going to happen. That's what is happening and will continue to happen, which is fine as long as we're motivated by the Jewish perspective. What's good for Torah mitzvahs, for Judaism, for Jewish people. And if it's good for Judaism and for the Jewish people, then it's good for humanity. That is a Jewish perspective on things. Then it's good for humanity. That's right, how we need to vote. And at the same time, with that vote, knowing that however it turns out, it's part of God's plan. And if it's part of God's plan, guess what? I'm going to be okay. And not only I'm going to be okay, we're all going to be okay. That's the way it should be. Will it be that way? Good question. We need more people to come and learn Tanya here together with us. And then we won't have a revolution, civil war, or whatever, or a breakup of America, God forbid. The Rebbe would always refer to America as a land of kindness, a land of kindness. More Jews live in America, maybe not to date, but throughout the last couple hundred years than any other place, or the last while at least. And therefore, we have to appreciate the kindness. Are there problems? Yes, there's problems, but we have to appreciate the kindness that we can live our lives as Jews. Just my thoughts. We begin today the 26th letter of Igeres HaKodesh. In today's class, we quote a Zohar, mystical teachings, a mystical thought about the end of days leading into redemption, leading into times of Mashiach, the times before that, I don't know what it'll be like is the right words, but let's get right into it. The unpacking of it will be in the forthcoming classes. Today we just quote from the Zohar. So the Zohar quotes from the book of Daniel that the wise shall shine like a radiance, like a Zohar, radiance. And this is from the book of Zohar, right? Like a radiance of the firmament. So with this work of yours, of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, the book of the Zohar, the book of radiance, a radiance of Ima Ilah, the higher mother. That's a reference in God's name, the first Hey in God's name, which is the supernal mother, which refers to Bina, understanding. Women have more understanding, men have more chachma, women have more Bina. And really what it means is the higher level of tshuva, of return to God. Returning to God, not because of sin, but because God's infinite and we're finite. So a sense of always returning and getting closer. So this higher closeness to God will be with those who study this work of mysticism, the Zohar, and similar works, but he's making reference to the Zohar. Those who study this book, they will undergo no trial at the end of exile. What does that mean? Before the coming of Mashiach, the times that we're in now, definitely messianic, on the doorstep, on the threshold, crossing over into the times of Mashiach. We're definitely at those times. There will be a reckoning in the world, a refinement, bleaching, a chastening of the world, that the side of evil will be very apparent, the side of good will be very apparent, but not for all. Boy, do we have a divide today like never before. Oh my gosh. And the wicked will not understand. Only the wise will understand. Because eventually, what will happen is that we will taste from the book of life, or the tree of life, rather, which is the book of the Zohar. Again, we're quoting from the Zohar over here, right? And this is what will help to bring us redemption out of exile with God's compassion. God alone will lead them, and no strange God will. So the Zohar, mystical teachings in a generality, is an embodiment of the tree of life. And those who taste it will not go through trials and tribulations. They'll be able to see clearly the difference between good and evil, the wickedness that prevails within the world before the coming of Mashiach. Ooh, powerful. Parenthetically means we got to continue learning Tanya. So then we can, first of all, of the mitzvah itself, but that gives us the power that we can withstand the trials and tribulations, what's going on today. And that we will not be sucked into what's going on in the world, and we'll be able to be strong, and that God will be the one who leads us in our lives, right? Now, as we will see in forthcoming classes, in the following words, people didn't understand properly, and this is where the Alter Rebbe will pick up on. But right now, we're, again, just quoting from the Zohar. Continue in the Zohar, it says the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We spoke about the tree of life, right? Which is, tree of life is eternal. What's the tree of life? The Zohar and mystical teachings that will stand by a person in the trials and tribulations that will be before Mashiach's coming, that will be able to stand strong and not be drawn and sunken by the winds and the, of the day. But as far as the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which is the prohibition, permission, and impurity, purity, will no longer be dominant amongst the Jewish people at that time, in the times of Mashiach. For the sustenance will derive from the side of the tree of life. And in tree of life, there is no question. Everything is, there's clarity. Right? The tree of knowledge is good and evil mixed together. Right? So now things good and evil are mixed together. But when you taste from the tree of life, where it's only life, only good, you have great clarity. But if all you live is by the tree of knowledge and good and evil, then meaning, oh, we'll explain that in a moment. Sorry. Times of Mashiach will be, God will remove the impurity from the world. In other words, it will not be good and evil mixed in together. And we see, for me, it's parenthetical. I see that so clearly in what's going on in America of, the two polar sides, that things are so polarized. It's actually a sign of that impurity is negativity, there's much greater clarity. Again, that doesn't mean people have clarity. Most people, as we said, because they don't taste from the tree of life, they're tasting only from the tree of knowledge, good and evil. So for them, it's all, but each one pointing the finger at the other one. You're the evil one. Me, I'm the redeemer. But in the times of Mashiach, the impurity, God will remove the impurity from the world. And what will happen then is, Zohar continues, the Torah scholars will not be sustained by the illiterate, but from the side of good, of those who are pure. Nor will it be sustained by the mixed multitude, from the impure, ritually unfit, right? Meaning, in Messianic times, there will still be people who will be animated not by the tree of life. Torah scholars will be from the tree of life because they've tasted life. But those who didn't taste life, so they'll be animated from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. They'll still be sustained from this admixture of good and evil. But the sages and the Torah scholars who are likened to Shabbos and festivals, they will be animated like Shabbos is, holy. They will only have a holiness, right? That will dominate. But those who have not tasted the tree of life, again, the mystical teachings, Zohar in particular is a reference here, right? They will be still subjugated to negativity, and accordingly, they will need the Torah scholars in order to help them rise and not be subjugated to the negativity of the impurities of the world. And for such people, they will then only experience, as our sages say, that in the era of exile, the days of Mashiach, that we will be released from servitude of the nations. The nations will no longer control the Jewish people. We'll be in control of our own destiny. But that's not impurity removed from their world. That's just that there won't be wars. And we won't be dominated by the nations of the world. Because these individuals have not tasted from the tree of life, so they will require also in their teachings to learn the Mishnah, Jewish law, in order to know the laws, that which is prohibited and permitted, impure, and so on. This ends a quotation from the Zohar, the Raya Mehemna. Whoa, there's a lot here, which needs to be unpacked, right? Which I'm not going to do right now because that will be tomorrow's class and forthcoming classes. Right now, I'm going to just take some questions. Folks, put 2 question marks before you ask a question so I could see clearly that you have a question. Otherwise, so Diane voted for God. Well, when you do it for the sake of for sake of God, which means for what God needs from his world. And that's what prompts you to vote. And you think it through what would be best for the values of Torah to be propagated in the world or in America right now. Um, then you come to your conclusion. I have my thoughts on that, but that's what's important right now. Okay, I saw some questions here. Okay, Aaron, what of redemption for a people? What of a redemption for a people? Is it immoral to use Jewish army to rule over 5 million non-citizens? Never mind the practical implication of Jewish life. What does the Torah say about our moral responsibility, and must we repent? Must we have a plan to free them? Well, anybody who lives in Israel does want to live in Israel can move out from Israel. Can't do that in other Arab countries, but in Israel you could move out. No one's stopping anybody, not a Jew or non-Jew, that to move out from Israel. So no one is. They can. They choose what they want, or sometimes they don't have a choice in their community because they're not allowed. Um, and if a war wasn't started against Israel, then we wouldn't be in a war today. But a war was started by enemies of humanity, enemies of all good people, on October 7th. And then we have a duty to destroy the evil. We don't have to destroy the evil because they could repent, lay down their arms, return the hostages, and change their ways. But no, their ways are that they want to slaughter every single Jew, not just in Israel, in the entire world. That's a fact. Not everybody, not everybody acts upon it, but all those who are part of Hamas and Hezbollah and their supporters firmly believe that. Okay, enough of. Aaron, you need to get your inspiration from Tanya instead of some other places. Okay, Yeshua, I'm not clear on your question. Ezekiel 38 be unlocked without two Messiah present. And why should Israel choose to keep the prophecy from unfolding? We, as Jewish people, we do not serve God because we read a verse in the Bible, in the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, or we read something in Ezekiel, or in Daniel, or in Isaiah, and we act upon it based on that. That's not the Jewish way. The Jewish way is called halacha. Halacha means the path. The path of God is taken by Jewish law, which Jewish law takes into consideration the verse in the Torah, the passage in the prophets. But adjudicating the law is not, you read a verse, oh, look what this verse said, now we're going to act this way. No, that's other religions do that, other faiths do that, but that's definitely not the Jewish way. We need to go through the oral law, what it expounds on the verse, what the halachic, the sages, how they understand the verse, and and bring it then final to adjudication in Jewish law. That's the Jewish way, and therefore, so we don't look at a verse and okay, let's follow this now. No, very un-Jewish. When Mashiach when's Mashiach coming? Today. We just got to follow God's ways, do what we got to do, give more charity, do more mitzvahs, um, bring more people to learning the mystical dimension of Torah, Tanya. And today is the day, most right. Right. Jeff, how does someone that studies the Tanya but not the scholar and is not a scholar taste the tree of life? Is this lesson saying that it's not possible? Good question, Jeff. I was thinking that myself when in reading this. So, the way I understand this is sort of the Zohar is saying it in a black and white way, and it's not black and white on facts on the field. In other words, living it out, it's not black and white. Because am I a scholar that's speaking over here in the Zohar? No, I don't consider myself that. Um, in that manner. So is that not refer to me? So I don't think it's black and white. In other words, the fact that we're studying Tanya together and that we are gaining a perspective on life, on creation, on God from Tanya perspective, and the more we incorporate that into our lives, the more it means that we're living from the tree of life, right? And that becomes then our life. So I would say that even if we don't have the maybe the in quotations the being the Torah scholar, but that doesn't mean that we don't have shades of that in our lives. So we may not, and the Torah scholar over here, I think, be like a very righteous individual, because that righteous individual is taking the teachings and living it. Am I taking all the teachings here and living it totally? I wish I could say yes, but I don't. I try to incorporate it and act upon it, but I have an evil inclination. That evil inclination, we try to minimize it, reduce it, but it's there, and um, doesn't allow me at all times to live by the tree of life. So excellent question, Jeff. I was thinking to myself. So I don't think it's black and white. I think definitely, we are part and parcel of having this incorporated and being a part of us, and therefore, when in the final redemption, it won't be merely that there won't be any more wars. In other words, it won't be that there won't be, because Mashiach comes, so there'll be food for everyone. There won't be wars. There won't be jealousy and greed. Those are all negative things. And that's what it's saying over here. All the negative all people will have. I mean, they won't have it. In other words, those things will be removed. But the positive, right, which is the tree of life, which is what we're learning over here that gives us a perspective in the positive sense of what life is, who I am, who God is, what creation is all about, what my purpose is, all that. So there'll be gradations of it. That's the way I understand it. But thank you for that question, because it's really, kind of important. Beautiful. Eugenia, when Zohar is speaking about the first stage after the arrival of Mashiach, I thought evil was supposed to be completely eradicated. Again, thank you, Eugenia. Beautiful. What does it mean completely eradicated? So there's two parts to it. No more war, jealousy, and greed. Whoa, that's pretty, right? Um, and we will not be dominated by the nations of the world. That's pretty powerful. Um, but then the positive side of it, so think that's the way I understand it. Vicky, a taste of the tree of life is only after Mashiach return. No, we're getting a taste of that. That's what the Zohar is saying. The Zohar is saying that if you taste his teachings, right, in the Zohar, which is the tree of life, so when you taste that now, that will help you that in the end of times when before Mashiach comes, which by the way is a long span, doesn't mean before Mashiach comes, doesn't mean, doesn't mean the year before, it can mean years before. By tasting it, by learning it, it's going to help us to the make the transition. So then it's true about the tree of life, they'll be dominant because the dominant power will be only direct vitality from God's life, from God's inner will, as opposed to a mixture of good and bad. Thank you, Vicky. Excellent question. Yes, BIT, Bainani in training. That's who we are. We're in training. Lori, we who struggle with the negative impulses can eradicate them by studying and working on ourselves and filtering out the nitty gritties bit by bit. Correct. And that's learning Tanya. That's giving us the empowerment that we could do that. Exactly. Wow. You guys are great. You guys are amazing. I see lately some new people on YouTube in particular, but on other platforms. I've the last couple of months been on YouTube with different videos. I'm just would like to know if, because you saw other videos, you came to Tanya. Is that how you came? Or did how did you come to the class? Especially on YouTube, because that's where I've been, you know, sort of, I don't know, hanging out's the right word, but putting up stuff or having stuff put up. So I'm curious if you came through that, that would be actually heartwarming because all the work that I'm doing. And if you can go to youtube.com/Tanya Rabbi and to subscribe and, watch the videos, great. I mean, this is more important because the whole reason I'm doing that is to get you to come to learn Tanya. So I'm curious to know. Okay, so Laurie, you were with us before. Okay, great. Yeshua, new name. Victoria, also. Looking at some people that I haven't seen their names before. Yes, Jennifer asking, will Mashiach come when we are all collectively the best yids that we can be? Oh. So Talmud tells us either when we're collectively all good or the opposite. The opposite seems on one level to be more the reality, but the truth is on some level, especially what was happening after October 7th amongst the Jewish people at least, it looks like something in a positive light, unity and the identity and coming closer, Torah mitzvahs, yeah. Maybe both are true at the same time. Who knows? Margot, someone, I don't know, maybe not new. Anyways, let me know, folks, one way or another. Thank you, Jennifer, for your question. Shui, is the arrival of the Geula in phases prior to Mashiach will be difficult, and after we will be gradually enlightened? Excellent question. Um, well, you see, it's gradual, right? Um, it's been gradual since the destruction of the Second Holy Temple in the year 69 of the Common Era. So it's almost 2,000 years. Almost 2,000 years. So it's a gradual process, that's for sure. For my liking, it's too gradual. Let's speed it up. Can we get more people to come learn here? Can you help me with that? Oh, Victoria, thank you. You kept on seeing my videos, the videos on YouTube, Victoria. Amazing. Okay. All right, folks. I want to thank you all for being here together. It's amazing. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine coming to you for Chabad Zurich